That was Matty Vrana who's up against. So Conor Marsh maybe would be the favourite for this race. However, he's going to be up against Ryan Smith. Ryan Smith, all the way down from Scotland, as always, never misses a British Rental Car Championship event, does Ryan Smith, one of the competitors over all of the years it's been taking place. Ryan Smith's best result in the championship has been 5th overall, so Ryan Smith is certainly not slouched. We'll be seeing him in action. In fact, he's crossing the line now. Ryan Smith, the young Scotsman, and certainly he's going to be the one taking the fight to what I would say would be race favourite Conor Marsh. Conor Marsh based purely on yesterday's performance, but also we've got Brandon Williams. Now Brandon Williams actually won a race as well yesterday, so Brandon Williams out there, not somebody we've really talked about much in the past, but really coming alive this year. So Conor Marsh is going to set the first time. That's going to be a benchmark time, 33.9. Now can it be beaten? Who's coming through? Grocott, Cleaver, they're all second, third. Ryan Smith has taken pole. He's faster than Conor Marsh, so Ryan Smith at the moment is fastest. Meulemeester comes through third, Pullan fourth. Bebbington is down in 8th place. We've got Carl Power and Brandon Williams to come through. Power is third, and what's Brandon Williams going to do? Race winner yesterday. Can Brandon Williams do it? Can he go fastest? He's second. Brandon Williams goes second, so Ryan Smith is going to be leading at the start. Now this is a great opportunity for the Scots driver here, Spanners. Well, Conor Marsh going into it, you'd have said, as a potential winner. He won yesterday. Brandon Williams won yesterday. Brandon Williams, an excellent win.
Would it be unkind to say that this heat is a good opportunity for some of the guys who aren't the big heavy hitters to pick up a heat win?
It's a better opportunity, not so much a heat win, because when you consider Williams has won against whatever opposition you can name, and Conor Marsh, I mean, when he beat Matty Vrana, it was by a pit stop distance. So we're talking about heavy hitters, but further down the order, if you look at, I mean, this again, without meaning to be unkind, you're talking Andy Meulemeester, Pullan, Grocott, Ludlow, Cleaver, Bebbington. They are fairly even there, really, and it's their golden opportunity to get a decent point score. So where in other races they may be 5th, 6th, 7th, this is a good chance to be 3rd, 4th, 5th, basically. So what you're saying is right, but I don't think it'll be for the win.
I'll be cheering on Mr. Apex Podcast's Carl Power, although I will point out that that is definitely a made-up name.
We're always gonna cheer on Carl Power, isn't he? You know, aren't we? You know, he's a regular here. We always like seeing Carl Power in action. To be honest with you,
even though he looks like he smells, he's actually quite fragrant.
Well, Andy Meulemeester is going to tell you all about that, because he's going to be following Carl Power. So whatever whatever Old Spice version Kyle Power's wearing this morning, Meulemeister's going to have a face of it right now as we come around to the start. So here comes Ryan Smith. He's on the pole position. He's going to try and make a good start. He's got Williams and Conor Marsh behind him. He knows this is dangerous. Now, Ryan Smith is actually capable of winning this race. He's perfectly capable of driving away from these guys and winning it. But Brandon Williams has won and Conor Marsh has won against opposition, which is a genuine test of their ability. So, you know, Ryan Smith is not going to have this easy. He knows this is a dangerous heat. This is the kind of heat that could put him into the semi-final, but it's also the kind of heat that could put him out of the semi-final should it go wrong. This is Ryan Smith. This is definitely what you would call a crunch heat for the Scotsman, who is doing everything he needs to now, which is leading from the front. He's crossing the line, still in the lead. There's Ryan Smith with the red suit there and the white helmet, but it is Brandon Williams behind him, and it is Conor Marsh in 3rd place there. Although Smith is putting in a pretty good pace, because Conor Marsh is almost a second down as they cross the line.
At some good social media posts, Carl Power did actually post at the beginning of the weekend that he was looking forward to this weekend because it's a great opportunity to be beaten by some of the best indoor cars in the world. And I think he accepts that, and he just likes being in the mix.
Well, even better than that, Spanners, last night Kyle Power said that we were doing a good job in the commentary.
Did he?
Yeah. So, do you know what? I think he's doing great there in 4th, don't you?
Yeah.
What a showing by Kyle Power. An amazing performance by the Cambridge driver.
He has an amazing pit stop as well.
Oh, actually, he hasn't done it yet, but it's going to be amazing.
Kyle Power also features as a karting subject matter expert on BBC Radio Cambridgeshire. There you go.
That's good, considering he's from Cambridge. That's if it was BBC Radio Cornwall. Yeah, but Kyle Power is 4th. That's the driver we're talking about. He's 4th at the moment. He's falling a bit away from these leaders, and it has to be said that Conor Marsh is starting to make a bit of a move. He's halved the distance between himself and the race leader, and that means he's closed right up on 2nd place Brandon Williams. Now, Brandon Williams was trying to take the fight to Ryan Smith, but I think Conor Marsh is simply running out of patience with Williams in front of him, and I think Conor Marsh is going to try and take the fight to Williams and take the fight to Ryan Smith himself.
Pullan is doing a little bit of a harassing job on Meulemeester as well. That's doing Power some favour to help him stay in 4th place. But yeah, you can see Marsh is going to lose patience at some point here, and you've got to think that Smith is looking behind and thinking, oh, if I can just hold Williams up a little bit and let Marsh do me a favour.
Absolutely. The best thing for Ryan Smith now would be a bungled overtaking manoeuvre by Conor Marsh, wouldn't it? If Conor Marsh can do something to cost himself and Williams time, which I don't think he'll do, he's just not that sort of driver. Conor Marsh is the sort of person who's going to do it neat, tidy and right, but in fact he's dropped a little bit away. I think Conor Marsh may be the one to make that early pit stop.
But Smith is also happy to go defensive, and you're absolutely right.
He's come
Marsh
straight in the pits.
Yeah.
Ho, ho, ho. There's Conor Marsh. You could see that who's that behind? It's the 8, Grocott. Grocott's coming right behind Marsh. It's not costing, both of them making decent stops. To see what the time is. You can see they're really trying to cut those lights as far as possible. Conor Marsh is an 11-second stop for Conor Marsh, so it's not too bad at all. Grocott, out of a matter of interest, a little bit further off on that one, a 12.5 second
so Grocott has got himself out of the power train, and he's hoping to have some clear air.
That's a real good piece of wording there. Spanner's actually punching the air with that one, and here in the commentary box. But someone who will be mentally punching the air will be Ryan Smith. However, this is where it gets particularly dangerous, because from a Ryan Smith point of view, because Ryan Smith, he may be aware that Conor Marsh has pitted. He also may be aware that Conor Marsh is running faster, so Ryan Smith has to be very quick now.
I think Williams probably needs to cover off Marsh now in the pits. That's his tactical move, and not sit here and make Smith go defensive and lose time to Marsh. Yeah,
I mean, it's all going to be a question of who is Brandon Williams considering most, or Ryan Smith considering most. If Brandon Williams is considering Ryan Smith as being the riskiest driver, he's going to try and just stay out there with him. If he considers Conor Marsh the riskiest driver, as you say, he's going to have to cover it. Yeah, Bebbington in the pits. That's Jack Bebbington into the pits. He's a front runner in the Cov Kart Sport Championship.
He's got Sonic the Hedgehog race suit. He's one of my favourites now.
There you go. You've got a lot of favourites, Spanners.
I don't like to be neutral. It's too much work.
When the entire field is your favourite, that's well on its way to back by default to
I've
neutral,
definitely
isn't
got
it?
some I hate, for sure. I can name and shame them. I'll make a list.
Okay, well, is Ryan Smith on that, because he's leading the way, 8 laps in, 15 minutes in, and he's got Brandon Williams seriously keeping him honest in that. Their lap times are good. The fastest on the track at the moment listed is Brandon Williams, 33.5, but Ryan Smith is also doing 33.5, and Conor Marsh is 33.5 as best, but only a 33.6 on that previous lap.
Interesting. So, yeah, well, this is where you want a bit of team radio to tell those guys, hey, Marsh isn't the one.
Whoa, contact! We've gone over to look at, I think it's Simon Cleaver. Simon Cleaver's in the pits, but big contact there. Ryan Smith continues with the lead, but a proper lunge as Simon Cleaver leaves the pit lane. And there was a big moment there. They are side by side now. What will that do from the gap reference Conor Marsh to Ryan Smith?
Good point, yes.
It's 12.6 seconds last time, but now they're going to cross the line. We're going to see a big difference potentially. So it's 12.6 last time they crossed the line to Conor Marsh. The two leaders are through, so we're waiting for Conor Marsh to come through. Conor Marsh is coming towards the line now. I'll keep a check on that. We're watching the leaders through, but I'm going to keep an eye on what it's gone down. My goodness, from 12.6 to 11.1. What that bundled attempt there means, now it's not safe for either of these two guys to pit and come out ahead of Conor Marsh.
Oh, and this is why I think I was urging Williams to come in. I mean, yes, lap by lap they weren't losing time, but there you go. He's trying to make the move. Yeah,
no, he's not. Well, do you know what? That bundled passing move there could well have cost either of these two the race win, because they were running enough of a gap.
Oh, big move there by number 19.
Oh.
Marsh trying to get through Ludlow. Now, Ludlow's ahead on track fairly, but Ludlow's not made a stop yet. And I'm trying to see if he's made that stick. No, he hasn't, but a big move into the final hairpin.
Now, that's a real problem for Conor Marsh, because that has just undone the advantage again. So Conor Marsh 11.6 across the line, but I think it's going to see worse. We've got Conor Marsh following the other driver down the backstretch. It is the 21, it is Ludlow, so Ludlow is ahead of Marsh, despite what the caption says. That was last time through. Oh no, Conor Marsh has made the move at the end.
21
Ludlow comes in the pits. That's Fergal Ludlow.
Yeah, so Ludlow's now gone out of the way. Do you think that's just, you know, a big hit there from Marsh, and Ludlow's gone, actually, this is not my fight. I'm just going to get out of the way.
Yeah, I think he's come into the pits, and he's now heading out on his own, so we'll see what he can do from there. Now, Marsh, the gap has gone back up to 12.7, so we had that bungled move for the lead from Williams, but a bungled passing manoeuvre by Marsh has reset the time distance. So a bit of a get out of jail for Smith and Williams, all thanks really to their new friend Fergal Ludlow.
The power train's heating up. Carl Power leading Meulemeester and Pullan at the moment, and Meulemeester getting a lot closer now, so looking out to see if any move comes out of that. At the moment, Power's not having to go defensive, but I think that Meulemeester and Pullan could probably both be going a bit quicker, so looking out for pit stops from either of those two. And no, it's Power. It's Power who pits from the lead of that pack. Interesting. Would be interesting to find out what his thinking was.
Kyle Power pits out of third place. Here he is. This is Kyle Power, the Cambridge driver. Oh, he cut that one really nice, hasn't he? He was well underway by the time that went green. But Conor Marsh has passed him. Conor Marsh has passed him.
Yeah, no, that's fine. Yeah, so he remains in net 4. But
yeah,
I think he risks falling behind Meulemeester and Pullan. And now on once they pit.
Now Simon Cleaver has just been put a lap down by the leaders. He got out of the way as soon as he saw the blue flags. He did a great job there, did Simon Cleaver, but he was running ahead of them through the twisty bits, and you know he can't disappear. So it could well be that to the benefit of Conor Marsh, we'll wait for him to come across the line. Conor Marsh, yes, it's gained Conor Marsh about half a second there. So Conor Marsh still on 12.3. That does mean that Smith and Williams, with a half-decent pit stop, would come out ahead of Conor Marsh. So Conor Marsh now clear on his own. He's listed as 5th place. There are some people to make pit stops ahead of him.
Big move
up the inside. And Brandon Williams, is that going to be bad pass? They're side by side. This is costing them time, He's letting Ryan Smith through. He feels that the organisers would have given him the bad pass flag for that one. Yeah. A bit of a lunge and a bit of a slam. Wow. It's interesting though, because we've seen some fairly robust overtaking moves being penalised and others not. You know,
I think the organisers have been very good, James. I don't back up that.
No, I'm not criticising the organisers at all. What it is that there's, from Brandon Williams' point of view, he's got to judge what he's going to get in trouble for. But the race leader in the pits, Ryan Smith.
I think Smith actually has made a smart move, because Williams has been quite aggressive, and behind him as well he's got number 11 Pullan, who's going to try and get ahead of Kyle Power. Actually, that's the one to watch at the moment. Power does do enough, I think, to get ahead and stay ahead of Pullan. But from Smith's point of view, yeah, Williams was getting really punchy. That was more than a bit of a lunge. That was
Yeah, but crucially, Ryan Smith has come out just in front of Conor Marsh. Ryan Smith managed to come out right in front of Conor Marsh. Here they are on screen now. So that is Ryan Smith, and there was the danger man, Conor Marsh. Where was Conor Marsh going to come out? Reference Smith, and the answer is behind. So when Smith made his pit stop, he was able to come out just in front of Conor Marsh. He's right on his tail. Now the question is, where will Williams end up? Because technically it will be in between those two, but as we can see, there's not a car space in between.
There's definitely not a Williams-shaped space in between those two guys. And the thing is, Smith and Williams, that was their second coming together, and the second was harsher than the first. So I think Smith played a very, very smart move by getting out of the way, because I think another incident with two like that.
Now, Brandon Williams continues in the lead. He's got 9 laps in and 9 minutes to go. If he can pull clear, he's 9.5 seconds ahead of Ryan Smith. What he needs to do is get at least another second lead onto that. So even though he's not in contact with these guys at the moment, Williams has yet to make a pit stop. What he needs to be doing now is setting some very, very fast laps. What will help in that is if Conor Marsh is starting to push and hassle Ryan Smith and slowing the pair down. If Conor Marsh was to do that, that would help Williams, and Williams needs that. He is actually trying desperately. He's making some ground upon them, albeit on the other side of the track. And Williams only needs about a second when he's in the position to a great pit stop could put him in the lead of this race when he comes out of the pits.
I think the smart money's on Smith.
Well, the smart money may be on Smith, but Williams is actually increasing that gap. He's pulled it up to 9.9 seconds. Now, bear in mind, we talk of a brilliant pit stop being in the 10-second range. Williams was to the good by 0.3 of a second on that lap alone. All he needs is a handful more laps at that kind of pace, and Brandon Williams is the fastest on track. He set a new fastest lap. Incredibly, Brandon Williams has really got the bit between his teeth. He set a new fast lap, 9.9 last time through. Here comes Ryan Smith. What's the gap going to be? Williams extended it. It's 10.1. Williams is doing exactly what he needs to win this race. He's got 7 minutes remaining, and he's got to leave this pit stop late, but he can't leave it too late or he'll be disqualified.
Off-screen, Meulemeester made his stop to try and get ahead of Pullan and Power, was unable to do so and came out behind Pullan, and now Pullan is actually holding up Meulemeester and letting Power go ahead in 4th place. So that 4th, 5th and 6th has remained the same. It's not as static as that might make it seem, but it looks like Power's been let off the hook.
Absolutely, Carl Power there running in 4th, and a great race by Arrom Pullan in 5th place, and the gap has gone up again, and Brandon Williams is almost in a position where he can come into the pits and come out in the lead, but when he did come out in the lead, it would be literally right in front of Ryan Smith, so it would probably be a side-by-side fight into the new section, so there could be some fireworks. Brandon Williams is under huge pressure to keep extending that lead. Brandon Williams crossing the line now, there he is on camera, and here is Smith and Conor Marsh on camera. They are setting very quick times, but still the fastest on track is Brandon Williams now. What's happening here? All the time has come down. Ryan Smith and Conor Marsh have responded. They've taken 2 seconds out of Brandon Williams. It is still in a position where they're going to be absolutely knackered. But they're coming up to Simon Cleaver. Simon Cleaver, we know, is very good at letting people through, but it's through the tight bit. He can't disappear. Cleaver is down the order, but he's letting them through, but he
Bebbington.
Oh, it's Bebbington, is it? Yep, sorry, you're right. Bebbington, Jack Bebbington, in 10th place there, has let the leaders through when he could, but he couldn't disappear in the tight bits, and we'll see whether that's made any difference to the gap. It has. It's cost him half a second. Now Brandon Williams, if he makes a blind of a stop, could stop right now. It's side by side across the finish line there for Meulemeester and Pullan. Meulemeester taking a place away from Pullan, it has to be said there. But look at this. Ryan Smith round the fast corner down the backstretch. He's now in a spot where he's got to make time up. It's 10.6 gap to the leader, and that means that Williams, with the ideal stop, could come out in the lead. They're coming back up to the start line here, and we'll see if Smith and Marsh have been able to bring that gap down. They haven't. It's now up to 10.7. Gosh, the pressure's on here. It's a real cat and mouse job. Williams has 5 minutes which to pit, probably less than actually. Spanners.
Oh, just updating you on that Meulemeester. Yeah, he made a great lunge into that final hairpin, completely surprised Pullan, and I was a little wrong earlier because it was actually early in the race. It was Power, Meulemeester, Pullan. So Meulemeester lost a place during the pit stops, but he's got it back on track, and it has shown that you can surprise people into that final turn, but you're going to have to risk a bit of contact and risk the judgment of the marshals to do so.
Absolutely. Andy Meulemeester was exactly in the middle of the scores last year. He finished 100 driver championship in 50th place, so you know he's doing everything possible to move up the order there. He's had a great tournament so far, but having a great tournament is also Ryan Smith. But Ryan Smith and Conor Marsh are in a position here where a good pit stop will leapfrog Williams into the lead. A bad pit stop will put him 3rd, so it's right on the bubble there.
The thing is, and the way Williams has been driving in this race, if he comes out in and around those guys into that 1st, 2nd and 3rd corner, we're going to see fireworks, and he's going to have to pit soon.
And I think we're going to see him come in the pits very soon. He's got Simon Cleaver that he's starting to close on. Now, Williams is going down the backstretch off camera, but he's coming up to Simon Cleaver, who's a back marker. Now, here's Cleaver. Will Williams come in the pits? No, he doesn't. There's Cleaver in the blue. There's Williams coming across the line now, and there's Ryan Smith. So Williams is not deciding to pit. I think Williams is going to go right up to the back of Simon Cleaver and then make his pit stop. Here's Ryan Smith and Conor Marsh, 2nd, 3rd respectively. They've got the gap down to 10.6. Each of these 3 drivers are doing their absolute best, but guess who's just set a new fastest lap of the race on that last lap? It's race leader Brandon Williams. That gap's gone up, 10.8.
Well done to Cleaver there, because there was no blue flags, but he had the awareness to let the leader through. And let's see if he's going to pit now. No, he decides to go another lap, having got past Cleaver without losing any time at all.
Simon Cleaver's shown himself really well in this tournament. You know, he's doing his best, and any time that anybody to go and put him a lap down, he's straight out the way, but somehow he doesn't lose too much time either. So great showing there by Simon Cleaver. It's not because he's actually slow, he's just not quite as fast as Brandon Williams, because as we ascertained when we were talking earlier, nobody in this tournament is actually off the pace. You put them in any of their club championships, anything like this, these are the front runners. You know, everybody here has some form of championship on their CV. Such is the standard that some drivers will end up going a lap down. It's an international event, of course.
Still, I don't think he's going to be quoting you on his bio, though. James Auld is doing his best. I don't think that's going to make
well, so long as he just keeps it to that part of the sentence, I'm sure he'll be fine. But what's happened is Ryan Smith is now 11 seconds back. Brandon Williams has been unleashing a volley of fast laps, and it's now 11 seconds. Brandon Williams is really putting himself in position. He's only got 2 and a bit minutes. This has got to be the pit stop lap, surely. No, he carries on round. Brandon Williams cannot leave this any later than the next lap. There's only 2.5 minutes to go. Brandon Williams now has to come in the pits on this lap, surely. He's getting close to the end there, and he cannot pit on the last lap. It has to be one before. The checker will come out before we get down to 0. So Brandon Williams must pit this lap, surely. 2.5 minutes to go. We're looking at Ryan Smith and Conor Marsh. They are now 11.2 seconds back. Surely Brandon Williams could come out in the lead here. It's going to take a bungle pit stop. No! Williams has stayed out.
Has he got time?
I don't know. He's not got much time. He's going to have to come in this time. We think he's got enough time to do it, but this is going to be a last chance saloon. Surely, virtual manager, Williams in. Just get in.
Yeah, well, I guess so, but I don't know. No, I don't know. I'm not going to play virtual manager, but the gap has just extended again, so maybe he's made the right call. What do we know? Now,
Ryan Smith receiving a signal from somewhere because he was pointing, crossing the line, and it wasn't to Conor Marsh. Brandon Williams, we expect in the pits now. Please come in the pits, Brandon. Yes, he does. Williams in the pits. This is what's going to make or break the race. Here he comes. It's got to be perfect. He's got to do a massively good job on this one. Look for that reflection of green. Williams on the gas. He's made it. Yep. Was that green or was that yellow? Is he going to come out in the lead? Yes, he is. And more importantly, there's a cart between them. Someone's trying to pass race leader, but it's a back marker. Actually, it's Fergal Ludlow. He's in between Williams and Ryan Smith, and that has worked perfectly for Brandon Williams. Superlative bit of race strategy.
It was a big gap as well, so he's pulled that pit stop off well. So perhaps, I don't know, did you say it was a 10-second stop around? That for a good one?
Yeah, we'll have a little look, and it was a blinder. 10.2 is actually a better stop than either of those two behind him, even though they did well. So, what an amazing performance there. We're into the final seconds of this race. Brandon Williams crosses the line. It looks actually on the screen, quite a healthy lead. It is 1.6 seconds. There's Brandon Williams. Brandon Williams really showing something in this championship. He's the Grocott Sport Champion twice now. He's won the Daytona 24 hours and the British 24 hours, so he's good on the short and the long distances, and now he's shown that he has the potential to be a champion indoors as well in the British Rental Car Championship. Brandon Williams, we're looking at Ryan Smith in second and Conor Marsh in third, all three very formidable competitors, but it's Brandon Williams who takes the win from Ryan Smith and Conor Marsh. What a race that was. It was very cagey. Brandon Williams leaving it to the last second to pit. He knew he was making up time, and the longer he left it, the more space he had for that pit stop, and the more time he had to do it correctly. He was lessening his own pressure, shall we say. So Brandon Williams wins from Ryan Smith, Conor Marsh. Kyle Power came through into fourth place. Andy Meulemeester in fifth. Arrom Pullan, decent job there in sixth. Grocott in seventh. Simon Cleaver in eighth. And unlapped himself. Fergal Ludlow was ninth, and Jack Bebbington finishing in 10th. Now they're coming down into the pits now. First one in, of course, is Brandon Williams. Ryan Smith comes down the pit lane. They're all, well, Williams certainly is doing some more practice stops. Ryan Smith comes in behind him. There is Conor Marsh, we can see on the screen. And behind that, it looks like Fergal Ludlow. That's it. Fergal Ludlow in the number 21. So out of the cart. And
Brandon,
what a race that was. That's going to be quite something. Spanners is going to have the pick of the drivers to talk to there. And we'll be going down to the pit lane in just a moment. There's Andy Meulemeester walking towards it again, carrying the weights. They see the all-important weights. That little yellow weight that's being carried forward, that's one of the track weights. And we're going over to the pits to Spanners.
Well, what a thrilling race there. It's great when we see the leaders fighting each other on track. In the end, it was done with a pit stop, but I'm waiting to speak to Brandon Williams. You're more important than us. Waiting to speak to Brandon Williams because he was in a real tough battle with Smith, and there was contact. And at that point, you have to think, when are we taking too much time out of each other? He's just weighing in at the moment, and Smith was involved in battles all the way through that. And Marsh, actually, he played a good game. He got out of the way of that battle very early on, and I think Smith getting out of the way of Williams actually handed Williams the win in the end. But I think Smith's thinking was right. If he'd have stayed out there with Williams being as punchy as he was being, they could have both fallen victim to Marsh. Here he is, Brandon Williams. I mean, speaking to you again, that was a real tough fight. Very punchy with Smith.
Yeah, I was a bit aggressive with my overtakes when he was in front of me, but I had to try something because he was defending so well.
The risk was Marsh had pitted early, and you were going to lose out to him.
I was looking on the track where he was, and it didn't seem to be catching us, so I was confident I could have a go. And then luckily he pitted. I didn't expect it. Well,
what, Smith? I think that the thing is, you'd had 2 contacts already. The risk was you two tripping over each other, hands Marsh the win.
Yeah, it worked out in the end. He pitted to cover Connor, and I could go out of the front and pull a bit of a gap.
And could you see that gap increasing ahead of those two?
Well, as soon as he pitted, I thought, okay, I've got an advantage here because whoever pits after has got a better chance of coming out in front. And,
that's 2 wins so far, though, so you've got to be feeling pretty confident. What's your points total now? Do you know?
I have no idea. I've had a 5th and 2 thirds now, so the 5th doesn't help, but hopefully I can have a good finish and see where we end up.
Good luck, very good racing, very punchy, a great win. We love it when we see the winners actually fighting it out on track. I hope we see more battles like that today.
Okay, so you were listening to Brandon Williams there, the race winner, and what a win that was. That was a pretty epic performance. Clearly showed the strategy of indoor karting with a pit stop involved as well. It comes down to more than just overtaking on the track. Williams did almost a textbook job there. He took him, once he was clear of Ryan Smith and Connor Marsh, and they pitted, he was able to put in a series of fast laps, which meant that he was able to come out and go in and out of the pits just in front of the battling pair behind him. So that an incredible job there by Brandon Williams. Brandon Williams, of course, is the reigning Grocott Sport champion and has also won in the long distance races, the 24 hours at Daytona.